Hey there design cutters, Renee here with a new tutorial for a fresh skincare ad. We'll create our layout and product labels in Photoshop, plus we'll pop into Illustrator to create a clean, modern logo. Follow along by downloading the freebie pack at designcuts.com. Open Photoshop and go to File, New. In the New Document dialog box, enter a width of 18 inches and a height of 12 inches. Set your resolution to 300 and your color mode to RGB. We're doing an 18-inch width to account for a magazine spread, which would be twice the width of the folded magazine, which is 9 inches. Let's start by adding a guide so we know where the middle of our spread, the crease, will be located. Go to View, New Guide. In the dialog box, choose Vertical and enter 9 inches, then press OK. Now let's pop into Illustrator and make our logo. We'll use some elements from it on our background. Open Illustrator, go to File, New. We're only going to use the document to hold our logo, so the size doesn't really matter. I'm going to make mine letter size with no bleed. Select your rectangle tool. Hold Shift to maintain aspect ratio and draw a square. The size doesn't really matter, but to make it easier to follow along, go ahead and make it about 2.25 inches square. Open your swatches palette and set your fill color to none and your stroke color to CMYK 701500, which should already be a default color in your palette. Next, open your stroke palette. Increase the weight to 5 point. Next to corner, choose the middle icon for rounded join. Under profile, choose width profile 2. Now we'll turn our square into a triangle. Select your selection tool, hover over one of the corners until you see the rotation arrow, hold Shift, then click and hold while dragging to the right. Release when your square is rotated 45 degrees. Select your pen tool, hover over the bottom middle point of the diamond until you see the pen icon with the minus sign. Click once on the point to remove it. Choose your direct selection tool and click once on the top middle point of the triangle to select it. Hold down Shift and press the up arrow key on your keyboard about 15 times. We just want to make a very tall, skinny triangle. Now let's curve our edges out a little bit. I don't want it to be perfectly symmetrical, so we'll manipulate each point manually. Select your pen tool, hold Option, then click on the top middle point, and drag out. And then go ahead and repeat on the other 2 points. Use your selection tool to select the triangle, press Command C to copy, then Command F to paste in place. Hover over the edge until you see the rotation icon again, then click and drag down to rotate -90 degrees. Press Command F again. Rotate this one -110 degrees. We'll press Command F one last time, and this time we'll rotate to -130 degrees. Now select the second triangle we made, open your color palette, and change the CMYK build of the stroke color to 40000. Now select the last triangle we made and change the CMYK build of the stroke color to 20000. Now we'll select that third rectangle, the one that's still the original blue color, and go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front so it sits on top of the other triangles. Now select the Type tool. Click once in the middle of the triangles and type BIRU. This is the name of our product. Open your character palette and change the font to a simple sans serif font. In my case, I'm using Handsome FY Regular at 68 point. Lastly, open your swatches palette and change the fill color to white. Use your selection tool to drag across the 4 triangles, but don't select the text. Press Command-C to copy, then go back into your Photoshop file and press Command-V to paste. Choose Smart Object and press OK. Hold down Shift and use the corner handles to enlarge the shape until it's about 18 inches square, the same width as the artboard. Press OK when you're done. In the Layers palette, double-click the Vector Smart Object layer name and change the name to Background Triangles. Now go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. In the first pop-up, name your layer Blue Background, then click OK. In the color picker, enter CMYK values of 75, 36, 13, 0. This will give us a nice muted medium blue color. In the Layers palette, click on the white box on the blue background layer. Now select your brush tool. At the top left of the artboard, click the thumbnail of the current brush, and in the drop-down menu, choose the soft round brush. Reduce the opacity to 30%. Lastly, increase the brush size to about 3000, and you can just press the right or left bracket keys on your keyboard to change the size. Make sure your foreground color is black by pressing D. Now brush across the top of the artboard several times. We're just masking out the blue so you'll start to see white shining through. Want a gradient effect, but not quite as regular as we'd get using the gradient tool. In the Layers palette, select the Background Triangles layer and drag it above the blue background layer. Change the blend mode to multiply and the opacity to 10%. Now we'll create a surface for our products. Create a new layer in the Layers palette and name it Surface. And make sure it's the top layer. Select your rectangular marquee tool. Click below the bottom of the artboard and drag up about 1 inch and all the way to the left side of the artboard. Make sure your foreground color is black and background white by pressing D. Now select your gradient tool. Hold Shift and draw from the top of the selection area to the bottom of it using the default black and white gradient. Then press Command D to deselect. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to luminosity and the opacity to 30%. With the surface layer still selected, hold Shift and select the blue background layer to select all of the layers we've made so far. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the folder icon to create a new group and name it Background. Now open the Mockup Zone Cosmetic Elements file from the Freebies folder. In the Layers palette, select the wicker basket comp layer at the very bottom, then hold Shift and select the top layer Wood Box Comp. With the layers selected, go to Layer, Duplicate Layers. Select the main layout file in the pop-up and press OK. And now you can close that Elements file. Back in your main layout, you'll see all the groups we've just copied. Now we'll just arrange the element. In the Layers palette, select the Orchid group, drag it to the top, and go ahead and turn off the other layers. Position the orchid on the far left of the artboard towards the top of the surface. Next, drag the wicker basket comp group just above the orchid group. On the artboard, position the basket in front of the orchid on the far left, but lower on the surface. Next up, we'll add our green square soap layer. Move the group just above the wicker basket comp group and position so that it overlaps a little with the right side of the basket. Now we'll work on our right side. Position the wire basket on the far right of the artboard so you only see the sponge and loofah. I want something a little taller behind here, so drag the wood box comp group below the wire basket. And on the artboard, position it behind the sponge so only the brush is visible. Now we'll turn on the towel group, but we'll put it behind the wire basket. And we'll just have that peeking out. For a last little touch, we'll turn on the leaves group and have it above everything else, and then position where the towel and the wire basket come together. Back in the Freebies folder, open the file named Mockup Zone Cosmetics Packaging. Just as with the elements, select all three groups and go to Layer, Duplicate Layers. Select the main layout file and press OK. Close the packaging file. Back in the main layout file, drag the three new groups below the elements, between the orchid and background groups. We'll start with the curved dispenser bottle. Position it just behind the bar of soap. With it selected, go to Edit Transform Scale. At the top of the artboard, enter a width of 90% and click the link icon to the right of the width to constrain proportions. Then press Enter to complete the transformation. Position the glossy cream tube just in front of the curved dispenser bottle. Then go to Edit Transform Scale, and this time we'll enter a width of 50% and click the link to constrain proportions. And then we'll position that just in front of and to the right of the curved bottle. Now we'll position the sphere bottle on the right side of the layout. Again, go to Edit Transform Scale and enter a width of 90%, then click the link icon to constrain proportions. Now we'll create our product labels. In the Layers palette, open the group name Sphere Bottle by clicking the little arrow to the left of the layer name. Double-click the thumbnail of the layer that says Double-click to edit. In the Freebies folder, open the file named Mockup Zone Cosmetic Caps. In the Layers palette of the Caps file, select the Cap 33 group, then go to Layer, Duplicate Layer. In the pop-up, select Cap 38 PSB, the bottle window, and click OK. Now go back to the bottle window. You'll see the white cap now in the file. Select the Cap 33 group and use your selection tool or arrow keys to position it directly over the black cap. With the white cap in position, you can turn off visibility to the black cap. In the Layers palette, find the layer named Replace Your Design. Double-click on the thumbnail for that layer. Don't worry about resolving font issues. Go ahead and delete all of the layers, and then turn on visibility to the color fill layer. Open your Adjustments palette and click on the icon for Hue Saturation. In the Properties palette that opens, click the Colorize box at the bottom, then enter a hue of 308, saturation of 60, and lightness of -60. Go back to your logo file in Illustrator. Select the entire logo and copy it by pressing Command-C. Back in Photoshop, press Command-V and paste as a smart object. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size of the logo to about 3 inches square, then position in the very middle of the artboard and press Enter. Go back to Illustrator and this time select just the shapes without the text. Press Command-C to copy, then go back into Photoshop and press Command-V to paste. Select Smart Object in the pop-up and press OK. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to increase the size of the shape until it's much larger than the artboard, about 8 inches square. Position so the empty space in the middle is centered around the logo. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to Color Burn, then press Command-S to save the file, then Command-W to close it. Now you'll see that it's automatically updated in the bottle window. Press Command-S again and Command-W again to close that file, and then you'll see that the bottle's updated in the main layout file. Now we'll just repeat this basic process for the other two bottles. Open the curved dispenser bottle group and click on the layer that says Double-click to edit. Open the Cosmetic Caps file, select the Cap 33 group, go to Layer, Duplicate Layer, select Cap 382.psb in the pop-up window and click OK. Then go back to the bottle window, select the Cap 33 group and use your selection tool or arrow keys to position it directly over the black cap. Turn off visibility to the black cap group. In the Layers palette, find the layer named Replace Your Design. Double-click on the thumbnail for that layer. In the new window that opens, delete all of the visible layers and turn on the visibility to the Color Fill layer. In your Adjustments palette, click on the icon for Hue Saturation. Click Colorize at the bottom, then enter a hue of 308, saturation of 60, and lightness of -60. Go into the logo file in Illustrator, select the entire logo and copy by pressing Command C. In Photoshop, press Command V to paste, choose Smart Object, and press OK. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to increase the size of the logo until it's about 10 inches wide. Press Enter to complete, then position in the center of the artboard. Go back to Illustrator and select just the shapes without the text. Press Command C to copy, then return to Photoshop and press Command V to paste. Select Smart Object and press OK. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to increase the size of the shape until it's about 35 inches square. Position so the empty space in the middle is centered around the logo. Change the blend mode to color burn, then press Command S to save and Command W to close. In the bottle window, we'll repeat the process again, press Command S to save and Command W to close. Now we'll go into our layer for our glossy cream tube and click the double click to edit layer. This one already has a white cap, so we'll just update the label. Double click the thumbnail for the layer named Replace Your Design. Just as before, delete all of the visible layers and turn on visibility to the color fill layer. Add a hue saturation adjustment layer. We'll colorize, then enter a hue of 308, saturation of 60, and lightness of -60. Copy the full logo from Illustrator using Command C, then paste it into Photoshop with Command V as a smart object. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size to about 2.75 inches square, and then press Enter when you're done. Go back to Illustrator and copy just the shapes without text. Paste into Photoshop as a smart object, then hold Shift and use the corner handles to increase the size to about 9 inches square, then press Enter. Lastly, change the blend mode to color burn in the Layers palette. Press Command S to save, then Command W to close. Back in the small tube file, press Command S again, then Command W to close that file. And now you should see that all of the bottles are updated in the main layout. Open the group named Green Square Soap. Click on the top layer in the group. In the Adjustments panel, select the Hue Saturation icon. At the bottom of the Properties palette, click the far left icon to clip the adjustments to only the layer directly below it, then enter a hue of -93. Our last step will be to add text to our ad. Select the Type tool. Click once in the empty area at the top left and type, "Don't be afraid to show a little skin." Open your character palette and use a fun handwritten font like Soulbeam's Regular at 85 point. Click on the color swatch in the character palette and change the CMYK to 885200. I'm also going to adjust the leading here. Select everything with your text tool, then hold down Alt and press your down arrow until everything's where you like it. To add to the handwritten effect, we're going to manually add a few spaces and set everything at an angle. With your Type tool, click in front of 2 and add 1 space, then click in front of little and add 2 spaces. Next, go to Edit, Transform, Rotate. At the top of the artboard, enter -10 degrees next to the angle icon. Use your Move tool to adjust positioning of the headline so it sits comfortably in the space at the top left, but doesn't creep too close to the guideline in the middle. Now we'll use a text box. Select your Type tool again. This time, instead of just clicking once, click and drag to create a text box. Type the following. Show off your natural beauty. Derived from all natural botanicals, Biru gently restores your skin's natural elasticity and moisture balance while providing protection against sun damage. Natural beauty by you, protection by Biru. Biru is never tested on animals and proudly maintains sustainable, earth-friendly practices. Visit designcuts.com to learn more. In the character palette, change the font to the same font you used for the Biru logo, in my case Handsome FY. I'll use bold and set the font size to 18 points since this is a sub-headline. Click on the menu icon at the top right of the character palette, and in the flyout menu choose All Caps. Select the first paragraph after the subheadline. Use the same font as the headline, Handsome FY, but regular weight and without the caps. The next 2 lines are our product taglines, so let's jazz those up a little by using a handwritten font again. Select the 2 lines and in the character palette, change the font to Soulbeam's Regular at 30 point. To bring a little more attention to the product name, select Baru and change it to bold. To balance our text area, let's right align the rest of our copy. Open the paragraph palette and select Right Align Text. For your last paragraph, we'll make it pretty small. Select the last paragraph using your type tool. In the character palette, change the font to Handsome FY Regular at 12 point. Click the menu icon at the top right, and in the flyout menu, choose Faux Italic. I'm also going to add a couple of manual line breaks here. I think I have a few too many spaces in here, so I'm going to tighten that up just a little bit. And then just position it until you like where it's at. For our final step, we'll tweak the background just a little bit to brighten it up in the areas around our product bottles. Open the group name background, click on the layer mask thumbnail on the blue background layer. Select your brush tool, which should still be set correctly, and then click behind the products a few times. Just to add little pops of brightness behind the products and maybe a little bit around the words. And that's pretty much it. We have a fresh beauty ad that would fool anyone into believing you spent hours working on bottle mock-ups and toiling away in a photo studio. Whether it's your outcome for this tutorial or something new, head over to our Facebook page and share it with us. Let us know what you think in the comments below and give us a thumbs up if you like the tutorial. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/designcuts to get more video tutorials and regular updates, or visit us at designcuts.com. Thanks for watching. Till next time!